Okay, let us begin on worksheet 4.1 for element compound mixture. So the first part, what is an element? So an element is a pure substance. Do take note of the word pure. So an element is a pure substance. Okay, and why is it considered element? Because it cannot be broken down into two or more simpler substances by a chemical process. So it's like the simplest substance you can find already. It cannot be broken down any further. So that's an element. So where can we find elements? Okay, so how can we find them? Found in the periodic table. So do take note of it. So state the chemical symbol of the following elements. All of this can be found in your periodic table. So you must be very familiar with the location of the elements in the periodic table. Do take note, for each of the element, I need you to realize this. The first letter is always capital. Okay? If the element has two or more letters, okay, actually only if the element has two letters, the second letter will always be a small caps. Okay? So first letter is always capital, second letter is always small caps. In question 3, what they're trying to do is, in terms of the chemical symbol, look at the periodic table to find what elements they are. So whether it's the name of the element given to you or the chemical symbol given to you, you must be able to find out what elements it is in exact. Okay? So He is helium, I think not so much issue. Ar is argon, so you can see it follows the first two alphabet. But some of them are a little weird. K is for potassium. So do note that the first alphabet doesn't always equate to the chemical symbol. Same thing, magnesium is Mg, but it's actually Ma as the first two letters. So do remember that not always the first two alphabets, okay, is equals first two, the chemical symbol is not always equals to the first two alphabets of the element itself. Okay, so for lithium, Li, Hg, mercury. Okay, so it's a little different, so do take note of it. Te is tellurium, Al is aluminium. So once again, key idea, familiarize with the periodic table. Okay, familiarize with the periodic table. So you realize this is the up-tin time I'm saying, please get to know your periodic table well, especially for chemistry. Now, next one, most substances are combined together, so we need to learn how to identify what elements are present. So for potassium iodide, look at the chemical symbol. Can you see capital K, capital I? Each time as you see a capital letter, it tells you that it is one element. So what are the chemical symbols you see? K and I. Look in our periodic table, you realize K is potassium, I is iodine. Okay, so you can see here the word is iodide. If you look at the periodic table, there's no such thing as iodide in the periodic table. The element is actually called iodine. So to take note of it. Next one, part B, ammonia. Capital N, capital H. Two capital letters only, so that's why there's only two elements, N and H. Look in your periodic table, it's nitrogen and hydrogen. What's next? So we have water, H2O. H and O, so made of two elements, H for hydrogen, O for oxygen. Methane, CH4. Okay, just look at how many capitals letter there are. One C, one H capital. So C and H, C represents carbon, H represents hydrogen. So on and so forth, but let's look at F. Okay, F is NaOH. How many elements there are? In actual fact, there are only three, because there are only three capital letters. So it's not how many alphabets there are, but how many capital letters do you see? So three main elements. The first element is Na. So the non-caps belongs to the caps for the front. So sodium, oxygen, hydrogen. So realize sodium is SODIUM, but the chemical symbol is Na. So be familiar with Na is actually for sodium. Next one, sulfuric acid, H2SO4. So three main capital letters, H, S, and O, H, S, and O. So hydrogen, sulfur, and oxygen. Glucose is C, H, and O. So three elements, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen again. Now, iron 3 sulfate, Sulfate is a little weird name, but we can just look at chemical symbol to determine. We have one capital letter, two capital letter, three. So we have three different elements. S and O on its own, the E belongs to the F over here. So Fe actually represents iron, S for sulfur, O for oxygen. Last one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, sure, 5 capital letters means I'll have 5 elements. How come your answer only has 4? Do take note, can you see this and this are the same? Capital O is actually oxygen. So in actual fact, it's actually made out of Cu, this is the first element, S, the second element, O is the third element, the fourth one is H. The O at the back here is a repetition of oxygen again. So it's made of copper, sulfur, oxygen, and hydrogen. Okay, so how do I know what elements they are? Remember, the keyword is refer to the periodic table. Okay, it can be found on your first few pages of your textbook. Do take note, you don't need to memorize the periodic table. It will normally be given to you in the test and exam papers. So that's why the key idea is not to memorize, but to familiarize. You need to know where the elements are in the periodic table. Okay, so that's for worksheet 4.1.